This has got to be one of the most peculiar national parks because it actually isn't a national park. I think it's the only national park that you can visit and not go into the national park. Today we are going probably the most remote place we've been so far, and it's so remote that we can't take the truck there.
Yeah, it's either foot, horse, or boat.
This is the first time we'll be on a boat in 2020, or at least a big boat.
I was reading on there is basically they're filling the boats about half full just to not cram them into here like they normally do.
Do you feel comfortable like being on an enclosed boat?
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly unenclosed, but you know, it'll be fine.
Okay, that was about 4 hours on the first transportation that we've been on that wasn't the rig. Not so bad.
A little more spacious.
I was actually pretty surprised it was not crowded and people were really respectful about like not getting up in your face and wearing masks and stuff.
Yeah, it was very nice.
So this town is called Stehekin. It is at the very north end of Lake Chelan, which is a 50-mile long, 1 mile wide lake, basically super skinny lake. And you take a boat up from the town of Chelan, and that's the only way you get here unless you walk all the way here.
Or take a plane, or ride a horse.
Stehekin is actually part of the greater North Cascades National Park. Just to complicate things, it's part of Lake Chelan National Recreation Area, but it seems to be managed, you know, as part of the greater national park. When are you ever gonna go to Stehekin, Washington? Right?
Exactly.
On a whim.
Like, yeah, we're here, we might as well just go.
Yeah, pretty good place to not be around people. A lot of people come up here to backpack for like long backpacking trips, but because our tent is like attached to a vehicle, even if we wanted to backpack, we don't have a great tent option. But I still think it was like totally worth it to make the decision to come. What do you think?
Yeah, this has been cool. It's a little excursion.
All right, so we're camping tonight in Samoa National Forest, which is actually only 12 miles away from the boat dock in Stehekin. But the only way to get there is to take the 4-hour boat ride all the way back down the 50-mile Chelan Lake and then drive an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it's also the only way to get from Stehekin to the rest of North Cascades National Park unless you're on a horse or you walk there. Hey everybody, happy Saturday from, what's this one called? Well, anyways, happy Saturday from North Cascades National Park, kinda. This has got to be one of the most peculiar national parks because it actually isn't a national park. If you remember from yesterday when we went to Stehekin, North Cascades is actually a complex managed by the National Park Service that has 2 national recreation areas and a national park in it. Okay, so it's kind of weird because in the park where we were yesterday is all the way down here at Stehekin, which is entirely within a national recreation area and not a national park. And then today, the only road that goes all the way through the park is 100% in a national recreation area. So the only way that you can get into the actual national park is if you go in on foot or on a horse. I think it's the only national park that you can visit and not go into the national park. Usually show here?
Yeah, a lot of these are easy to get to and things in the national park. Usually always a disaster.
Get a little workout in.
Might as well.
Okay, another little ism about North Cascades. It's 94% wilderness in the entire complex, but the 6% that isn't wilderness is literally dammed by 4 different reservoirs. It's kind of an interesting like catch-22, right? So we've been to national parks that have like little towns and stuff in them, or even maybe that have dams in them. But the weird thing for me, I've never been in a non-national park, national park that has like crap tons of power lines in it.
Yeah.
So as far as I can tell, this town was actually built by Seattle City Light, which is the utility that pulls energy out of the 3 lakes. Just like, it's really peculiar to be inside national park land, you know, that actually was first developed by a public utility, right?
It's absorbed into it.
Okay, this is actually pretty funny to me. It's like the first thing in North Cascades that said North Cascades National Park, not National Park Complex or National Recreation Area. And it's pretty tricked out. They have fake snow. They literally have a little spot here where you can put your phone between 2 rocks so that you can take a picture by walking up here on the selfie stage.
I think all these recreation areas have a complex.
Coincidentally, it's on the Seattle side of the park.
Yeah.
Not that it was a goal of mine, but that was the first time I've been to a national park without actually going in a national park. Like, honestly, pretty weird. It was the most peculiar combination of like the most remote places that you can probably get, whether you have to take a boat for 4 hours to it or whether you have to hike for like miles and miles and miles, right next to 3 enormous dams that power the city of Seattle.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, honestly, the thing about Cascades too is it's super rugged. It may not be like the highest peaks or something.
All right, just remembered something. We never paid to get in North Cascades National Park, either way that we went in.
And when you hike in, I will tell you they don't have a charge station on the trails. So
North Cascades National Park Complex, whatever the hell it's called. Cheapest park ever. Check it out. I wanted to visit a place that to me feels like it's really central to the developing story of what our collective 2020 is.
Not everybody has the wherewithal or the interest to go out and protest, especially during a climate like COVID.
And depending which way you slice it, I'm either in Seattle or an autonomous protest zone that's called CHOP.
Challenge by choice. You know you need to go do something. Figure out what you're comfortable with that is actually meaningful.